Hello, everyone. We're here with the WWE Hall of Famer and the former World Heavyweight Champion, Bill Gulldberg.
Shalom, Bill.
Hello, gentlemen. How are you this morning?
We're good. How are you?
Right.
Wonderful, wonderful. Playing a little bit of Goldberg and a little bit of father this weekend with my son's baseball games. But beautiful day in Southern California to relax and watch some baseball.
Yeah, is it your first time with Israeli media?
First time video-wise with the Israeli media. Yes, absolutely.
Oh, when was the last time you were talking to the Israeli media? Can you remember?
Oh, it had to be. I have been hit in the head quite a few times, so I can't really.
Because here in Israel, you know, a lot of people would talk about you because you're, of course, Jewish, as we all know, and you're like our guy. You're our guy here.
You know what? I feel the same way, and I'm honored and privileged to be put in that kind of category. You know, usually when you go out there, you're fighting for yourself, but I felt as though every time I got in the squared circle, I was fighting for all the Jewish people. You know, that's how that's truthfully how I felt. I was a representation of them, and I always will be. And I wanted to portray it in a positive light and be that superhero that everybody wished that they could be, and just set a good example for those who followed my footsteps.
Can you remember when was the last time you were in Israel?
Yeah, I can remember that. Never.
Oh,
so
maybe it's time.
Yeah.
I just spoke to my agent, and I've been invited to do an event over in Israel, but I'm considering my retirement match in Israel.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow.
That's good.
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, my agent and I just spoke about that a minute ago, and that's a big topic of conversation right now. So it's something that we're gonna consider.
Oh, wow.
Okay. That's great.
And of course, you know, we have the upcoming Bellator in Israel, Bellator event. And our friend Chaim Gozali is going to fight. He's also going to retire in the Bellator cage on November. Yeah, you know, he's at the end of the road.
Yeah.
I know exactly.
Tell us about Gozali and how you know him.
Yeah, how he got
Oh,
connected.
I'm just a fan. I'm just a fan. You know, social media has given us the ability to get closer to the people that we admire and the people that we respect. And you know, I love what he's doing. Obviously, success has a lot to do with you know, his name blowing up. But at the end of the day, it's about the man. It's about the character behind the man, and it's about the cause that he's fighting for. And you know, that's what made me become a fan instantly. And his coach, you know, Mr. Gracie is a good little friend of mine too. So we have some mutual friends in common.
Ah, that's awesome. That's awesome. We want to ask you about you're coming back to the WWE like a few years ago. Can you tell us how was it for you, and especially for your family? Because you always mention your son and you're doing it for him. How was the Goldberg family atmosphere at the time you were coming back to the WWE?
It was hell. It was a situation my family had never found themselves in before. I'd obviously retired many years, you know, prior to my son being born, and you know, I got the opportunity to get the chance to go back, and the only reason that I would consider putting the boots back on and putting the trunks back on is for my family. And it was something that they had never seen, never experienced before. And I wanted them to be in the moment and experience it that for themselves, because it's something you can't really eloquate. It's hard to paint a picture for somebody in such a wild situation and have them understand actually what's going on. So I figured I'd just drop them right in the middle of the situation, and they could find out for themselves. But you know, it was not filled with with an easy route by any stretch of the imagination. There were trials and tribulations along the way, and at my accelerated age, it's not the easiest thing, to turn into the old Goldberg again. So you do the best that you can do, and you hope that it's enough. And it was a tumultuous atmosphere for a little while, but that's just what happens when I've got to turn green every once in a while. So.
Something to do with what happened between you and some guy named Matt Riddle, who we heard that you had something to do with him in SummerSlam backstage.
He's like a booger that gets caught in your nose. He's just annoying and won't go away. But no, he has nothing to do, no bearing whatsoever on Goldberg's life, period, end of story.
Okay, and we saw some incident with you and Dolph Ziggler over the weekend.
Yeah, on your Instagram page.
Everything is okay with you guys?
Hey, it's the wrestling business, and sometimes when you're out in public, you may run into a former foe, and you never really know how the situation's gonna turn out. So it is what it is, and we still obviously don't see eye to eye, and I don't have any problem with Mr. Ziggler. I mean, it only took me about a minute and a half to take care of him last time, so I don't think he even contemplates that he has a shot about beating me. So I don't know what his problem is.
Okay, let's talk about your match with the Undertaker in Saudi Arabia. First of all, how is it like to you as a Jewish person, to go to Saudi Arabia and wrestle over there?
It was very strange. It was an extremely uncomfortable situation at times, but they did their best to make me feel as comfortable as humanly possible. I mean, you don't know until you go, and my impressions were much different than what actually happened. We never felt in danger at all at any moment. I got nothing but praise and was treated with nothing but respect from the Saudi people.
Yeah, and the match itself, it was a great match until the moment, of course, that you got concussed.
Yeah.
What was on your mind in that same moment when you were in the ring and everything that went wrong?
Oh man, there wasn't a lot going through my mind.
A concussion went to.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out where I was, but it was the perfect storm of no good. At the end of the day, I hadn't been in the ring in 2 years. It was 115 degrees. Undertaker and I had never worked before together. And it was a situation to where, unfortunately, my character is based upon realism. My character is based upon intensity. And sometimes I forget that I'm a little bit older than I used to be. And I don't think my body, well, quite obviously, my body can't take what it used to take. And so taking my performance to the extreme just didn't work that time. That was a spot that, throughout the years, a number of times I've knocked myself out. Why? Because I refuse to do anything in there that looks like it's not real. And if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it 100%. If I knock myself out, so be it. I knock myself out. So you got to deal with it. And I had to deal with it at the time. And, it was no one's fault but mine, because I went too hard. But you can't fault me for that, because all I wanted to do is provide the best performance humanly possible. I wanted to make my fans and my family proud. And I truly wanted to complete a dream of mine and have a good match with Taker. But, things don't always turn out the way you want. And fortunately, unfortunately, it was all televised. Everybody in the world saw it. And, but hey, man, one match doesn't define a human being. I felt like I ate crow for about, 2 weeks and felt bad about it. But the fact is that I went around the country picking up the Big Show when he was 525 pounds, and people stood at the edge of their seat with excitement. And so nobody could take anything like that away from me. So I personally believe that I deserve and Undertaker deserve a pat on the back for putting ourselves out there at our age and trying to continually do what we do to provide entertainment for the people. Hey, I'm a football player that wrestled. So be it. That's my fault. I went a little too hard.
That's great. That's great.
Okay. But you know, if you're mentioning about those days when you were picking up the big show and people were putting out all the seats, I want to take you back to the Georgia Dome when you had a match with Hollywood Hulk Hogan for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. It was a packed arena, your hometown, and you're going against one of the biggest names ever took foot in the square circle. How was it for you winning the title? You know, picking Hulk Hogan up and jackhammer him. How was it for you?
One of the loudest pops ever.
You know, how was the feeling inside?
Yeah, it was an honor and a privilege to, number one, be in that situation. Number two, be in that situation in the town, you know, that I had played professional sports and called my home for such a long period of time. And let's be perfectly honest, and just honored to be in that situation, period. You know, there's so many people that have, you know, jumped off buildings for $25 to be on television, to be a wrestler, and they never made it. And I had the easy route in that, you know, they maybe saw something in me, and I did work my butt off in that period of time, but I didn't have to pound the pavement for 15 years on the independent circuit. And, you know, for that, I was very fortunate. But to be able to do that in Atlanta in a short period of time after I broke into the business, and to have my ex-football team be in the ring with me, it was a night I'll never forget.
Yeah. So we talked about the past, we talked about the present. Let's talk about a little bit about the future.
Yeah.
If you could choose anybody, any wrestler now in the current roster to work with, like a program to Wrestlemania, who would you pick? If you get the say.
Oh man, who would I pick? And it wouldn't have anything to do with them protecting me and or him throughout, and our characters wouldn't. You know, I'd love to do something with Roman, only because, you know, I'm past my prime. There's no doubt about that. It's just reality. I'll be 53 years old in a couple months. But I went to the University of Georgia, and he went to Georgia Tech, right? I played defensive line. He played defensive line. I spear people. He spears people. That's something I always kind of wanted to compare, you know. He's in a different age bracket, unfortunately. You know, the Taker thing was a pinnacle for me, but, you know, that I kind of grabbed that one out. I don't think I'll get another opportunity at that one, but, you know, there's so many people I'd like to get in the ring with, but
Roman, I think Roman is a great dancer. I think it will be a great match.
Yeah, it's a great fit for a storyline.
I'm not pushing for it by any stretch, but
we're pushing for it right now.
Ask me a question, there's
No, but the spear versus the spear, yeah, it's going to be great.
It's going to be a great storyline. But
speaking of spears, if you can choose, what was your favorite spear when you did?
Yeah,
like something to remember.
Oh, Christian and Nunzio in the battle.
Nunzio, Royal Rumble 2004.
Yeah, those were pretty fun. I mean, I liked a number of them, but I think those kind of stick out in my mind.
And you know, nowadays the WWE are moving to Fox, and there is a lot of changes. And you were backstage at WWE at the past couple of months. Can you put a finger on it, on what do you feel like change is all about? What do you think is going to be when the changes are going to evolve and evolve?
You know, I think I can't really give you an answer. I can give you an opinion on that. You know, I think the changes are going to come from internal. The changes are going to come from Fox. The changes are going to come in the form of direction that they want a certain show to go with a certain outline and a certain end game. And I think they wouldn't have made that collaboration if it wasn't prosperous for both parties. I think it's going to be a big bang on October 4th. SmackDown, and they're gonna have a bunch of legends there, and we'll see what it's like for the first night of on Fox. It should be big.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. So Bill Goldberg,
We want to say thank you. תודה רבה.
Thank you very
for
much.
your time.
Oh, absolutely pleasure, my friends. It's been something that should have happened years and years ago, and I cannot wait till I step foot in Israel and get to kiss the ground, come home. I really can't. I cannot express to you how proud I am to carry the flag. I truly cannot put into words to you and the people what a huge honor, and hopefully I did it justice for the time being.
We hope so, and
Thank you very much.
We wish to see you in Israel
very soon.
in the near future. And thank you very much for your time.
My pleasure. Shalom, gentlemen.
Shalom.